The Apartment Gurus podcast is brought to you by Greenlight Equity Group, an apartment acquisitions and holdings firm co-founded by Carl York and Tate Siemer, host of this show. We offer you the opportunity to be an owner of cash-flowing, wealth-growing apartments without the headaches of being a landlord. These assets are recession-resistant, risk-mitigated, offer significant tax advantages, and are a great alternative to the stock market. Ready to check it out? Go to www.investwithgreenlight.com today to book a personal consultation with Carl or Tate. Again, that's investwithgreenlight.com. We look forward to meeting you. Welcome to The Apartment Gurus, where twice a week, host Tate Siemer brings you deep dive interviews with the wisest gurus in the apartment investing industry. These experts are sure to create game-changing value and inspiration designed to catapult your business to the next level. Be sure to reach out to Tate at www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. And now, here is Tate Siemer and the Apartment Gurus.
So this was a monumental friendship for me in my life. Foundational. You know, I was 21, 22, 23 years old and figuring out who I was at, a lot of different levels, philosophically, spiritually, politically, really working on what I stood for as a person and what my values were. And Tony was a mentor to me. At first, he was a few years older than me. He was my boss, and had the experience of working in the residence halls at the university, and I really learned a lot from him at a lot of different levels about some really important things that have stayed very important to me, mainly in the social values part of life, confronting and working with things like sexism and homophobia and the things that make people feel unincluded, which is it's so important in a community and a residence hall or whatever to make everybody feel welcome and included, no matter who they are, what color their skin is, etc. So I learned and grew a lot during that time, and Tony and his friendship was a huge part of that. We also just had amazingly fun times, road trips, concerts, Reds baseball games, Cincinnati Reds baseball games. Just great times. I knew his family really well. Still am friends with his sister and his brother, who I just got to see at the service. And he knew my family very well. My mom adored Tony. And the loss is profound. And looking back with kind of 2020 vision, I won't say, it's felt like regret a little bit. I think that's really like the best word for it, but I'm not shaming myself and I'm not guilting myself, right? It's just a regret that I let things go for a long period of time between us without any real resolve on the last kind of tricky conversation we had, that, like I said, wasn't the prettiest exchange in the world, and wasn't filled with as much grace and kindness, loving kindness, if you will, understanding, empathy, acceptance that I'm normally committed to, especially with my very, very close peeps, right? My close friends. And I'm using it as a takeaway, like a positive takeaway, to just take inventory of any incompletion that I have in any of my, key relationships, and maybe even not so key relationships, just where there's a lack of like resolve and closure on any potential past issues or conflicts, or just drifting apart, distance. I think, with Tony, I would love the chance to just talk to him one more time, and in person. I know I can talk to him now, and I know he's with me, and he can hear me, and I feel very close to him. But I just wish in person that I could talk to him one more time, and just tell him how much I love him, how important he was to me, is to me, and that nothing like politics or anything else would ever change that. And I know that part of the conversation would have probably gone pretty quickly, because I know how much he loved me. I know that he would have been massively relieved, I think, for the opportunity to have that conversation, as would have I. And I wouldn't feel the way that I feel right now, which is some remorse about things unsaid, right? And again, I think it's really careful. Be discerning here in your listening to the fact that I'm not making myself wrong, right? I think that's so key. As a high level, spiritual based entrepreneur, business person, or just kind of general impact maker in the world, that you learn and adopt a really deep respect and compassion for yourself. And it's taken me a week or week and a half to kind of come to this point of like just loving acceptance and gratitude and forgiveness, all towards myself. And I think ultimately that adopting a story of complete responsibility, and yet without shame or blame towards yourself, I think that's an art. And I think it takes practice. It's something that you develop the ability to do over time. I think it shifts with your identity as well, as you evolve and self-actualize and become higher and higher, better versions of yourself. Your ability to love yourself and cut yourself some slack sometimes when you need to, and really just compassion, right? Be compassionate towards you, and of course everybody else, like that. How you treat yourself and how you love yourself and how much you love yourself is it really dictates how much you can love other people, in my opinion. So just to circle all the way back around, we missed a couple episodes here on the Apartment Gurus because of this. And it's the first time in, I think, 2 years that we've missed episodes. And again, in the space of like self-compassion and just like going easy on myself. I'm not making myself wrong for that, although it certainly would have been ideal to have episodes, being published during the last week. It didn't happen, and that's the way it goes. That's the way it was. And, and I did the best that I could last week and the beginning of this week and over the weekend, and have decided to record this like little solo episode to kind of I guess, number one, just kind of catch you guys up. And number two, to honor my buddy. Because I can, I've worked thousands of hours on this show, and this is episode 210, I think, roughly. And, over 200 guests. And so I feel like going off script a little bit here in terms of not talking directly about multifamily investing. Although to me, this is all part of the puzzle. Every single thing we're talking about here is part of the puzzle when it comes to becoming a high-level entrepreneur. I think the fundamentals of emotional intelligence are an absolute essential key ingredient in the path of a successful entrepreneur. And in particular, in our space, the commercial multifamily investing space, I think it's especially critical, because these deals that we do are intense. They're big deals, multi-million dollar projects, and we are stewards of our investors' precious hard-earned money that they're investing in our projects to achieve great returns. And we owe it to everybody, especially our investors and our residents at our communities, to do the very best we can and to create the safest, cleanest, most welcoming, really highest value housing scenario that we can for all of our residents. And to me, like, there's maybe not a direct line here, but there is a direct correlation between the version of you that you're being and showing up as and the success that you're going to have implementing the priorities of serving your investors and your tenants in the absolute highest and best way that they deserve, right? So to me, it's everything. Every part of my life is a direct contributor to the success of that mission of being a transformational investor that has a massive impact on hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of lives at different levels: investors, passive investors, residents of our communities, our vendors, our strategic partners, our networks, our colleagues, you guys. Like, to me, like, right down to what I choose to eat and if and when I choose to work out, and how much sleep I get, and my wellness habits as far as meditation, exercise, journaling is a huge one for me. Like, the better locked in that I am into showing up in those parts of my life and doing those things, the exponentially more that I have to offer the people and matters that I am trying to impact, right? I guess coming full circle here, my view of what an entrepreneurial opportunity offers is that it offers a very compelling and almost mandatory aspect of you showing up as your best self, or the best self that you have available to you at the time, right? We're never going to be perfect. We're never going to be completely actualized and enlightened, in my opinion, in this lifetime. Although I think that there are enlighten people. And I think that's possible. But even those people, I think, are always going to have stuff they're working through, and always going to have challenges and obstacles and roadblocks and things that they're going to be learning from. So just a few kind of takeaways, I guess, that I'd love for you guys to really absorb here right now as you're listening. Write this down if you can, and go back and listen to this again if you can. But first of all, just love yourself. That's, number one on your piece of paper, right? Number one, love myself, and leave a nice blank space under that so that you can fill in some notes about what that looks like for you. Love can look a lot of different ways, especially loving yourself can look a lot of different ways, right? It can be tough love, where you are working self-discipline and, getting yourself to the gym, eating well, doing the things that are good for you, journaling, gratitudes, all the savers from Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. Highly recommend reading that book if you haven't. That's all self-love, right? Sometimes we think of self-love as like self-pampering, giving ourselves days off, going to the spa, getting a massage. And I would agree that those are all forms of self-love, self-care, self-nurturing. But I think the highest, smartest kind of love is love that is intentional about helping catalyze your growth and helping you become a dream version of yourself, that where you're living a life that you have to pinch yourself every day because it's so good, and you're so fulfilled, and life is so moving because of the impact that you have and the people you have around you, and the so many opportunities that you have to make a difference, to to be a contribution, to have fun, to connect, to love planet Earth and Mother Nature and the beaches and the mountains. And to me, one of the things that this loss of my friend really brought to me was a couple things. The first one was kind of obvious, right? Life is fragile. Life is fragile and precious. And Tony went to sleep one night and didn't wake up, and he had a heart blockage, a heart valve issue that they didn't know about, and he passed away. And that it could happen to any of us any night we go to sleep. Could happen to any of our loved ones any time they go to sleep. You just never know when the last time you might see somebody or talk to somebody or text somebody or leave them a voicemail or whatever. You never know when it might be the last one. My coach, Dr. Jamil Sayed, he's a wonderful teacher about this, and really puts into perspective how would you show up differently for, say, Thanksgiving dinner if you knew that it was the last time you were going to see your family, ever at that dinner. How would a phone conversation go with somebody a few thousand miles away that you haven't talked to in a while, but you love and enjoy and have great memories with? How different would that conversation go? Sting song Fragile, right? If you're familiar with that, the chorus is, "We forget how fragile we are." And I think that's so true. And we, so often, myself included, are basically in a kind of a default mode of day-to-day living and assuming that, the tomorrow's going to come and the day after that's going to come, and things probably won't change a whole lot. And they do sometimes. I bet you there were two things actually that kind of big takeaways for me from this loss and from being at the memorial service and supporting his family, and certainly shedding some tears of my own and giving thanks for who he is and was. And the biggest, I'll never forget this moment when I'm sitting in the church for this memorial service and looking at his casket and realizing that, his chance in this particular lifetime and that particular body is essentially over, right? Like he had a great life and a lot of impact and a great family and a good run in the world, and it's over now, and at least according to the appearances of the illusion, let's say, right? We don't really know. None of us really know, in my opinion, like really what happens next and where he is now. But I can tell you this, that I feel him with me now at an incredibly powerful level. And so I'm sitting in the church and, choking back tears, and sometimes not successfully. And it just came to me so crystal clear, the following concept. And that concept is, I want to be better. I want to be better at what I'm doing. I want to be better at life. I want to be better at business. I want to be better. I want to be the best possible coach and mastermind leader that I can be. I want to be the best business partner, deal maker that I can be. I want to be the best investor relations person that I can be. I want to be the best syndicator that I can be, so that we attract wonderful capital partners and other strategic partnerships. I want to be the best boyfriend that I can be eventually. I'm single right now and, open and dating, but in a place of feeling good and solid and complete on my own. But the opportunity arises, I want to be the best partner I can be, best husband, dad, whatever kind of comes up, and however life goes. Sometimes I'm a huge believer in lifestyle by design, and being very intentional about manifesting the life that you want, and that is your dream, that's going to make you feel like wonderful about being alive. I'm all about that. And at the same time, you can't force certain things, right? Like you can't force the dream spouse, the dream partner, dream girlfriend to just come along, right? You got to be open to it. You got to be ready for it. You got to kind of know what you're looking for. And there's a co-creative aspect, I think, with the universe, God, or whatever works for you, that there's like, you do your work to be ready and be in receiving mode, and have the energy of have a clear slate, an energetic clear slate to welcome somebody or something new into your life. That's your work, right? Just being ready and having a good idea of kind of what you're looking for. And even if that's, you'll know it when you find it. Like even having that sense is good. And then there's just this magic aspect of that process that is not your work. It's not my work. It's outside of my work, which is kind of the co-creative part of what the universe or spirit or God brings to the table, so to speak. And I'm a huge believer in that. And so a couple just really, really big takeaways, right? Like, obviously, number one, think about who you're not complete with right now, who you have a grudge towards, who may have a grudge towards you, who you need to forgive. Even if they're not alive, even if you don't know how to reach them, like, who in your heart do you need to forgive? Who has been occupying a place in your energy that maybe wasn't positive, that it's time to let go of, right? It's not serving you anymore. And cleaning that up, right? And I think the cleanup process is hero work, right? It's courageous. It takes courage to, if you can, go directly to the person that you want to heal things with. Doing that is, it takes a big person with a lot of guts to own responsibility for what there is to own responsibility for, which to me is the only way to come at these conversations, is in 100% self-responsibility. And, just a few other kind of just takeaways, right? So summarize that first one, have those conversations, right, with those people who, if you got the news that they passed away in their sleep, you wouldn't have the wish that you had said something more, right? And maybe it's the top 10 people in your life, or the top 5 people, or the top 15, 20 people in your life. Make a list and of all the important people in your life. So here's an assignment for you. Just take 10 minutes, 5 minutes, make a list of the top 20 most important people to you, at the most important levels, right? Like every level, personal, family, romantic, partnership, business, friend, mentor, etc. And just take an inventory there in that list. Is like, what do you need to say to that person that you may have not have said before? What maybe you need, what needs to be cleared up? What needs to be like brought out into the light of consciousness and explored with that person? And the gift that is to you, not to mention the other person, is timeless. And it's something that the benefits will last the rest of your life, because you will have unburdened your heart and mind of anything negative that you were harboring. And that could be so many different things, like regret, anger, frustration, disappointment, betrayal, blah, 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 right? That's not serving you. None of that stuff is serving you anymore at all. And in fact, it's not only not serving you, but it's causing obstruction in your energy field, in my opinion. Not to get like too like woo-woo energetic kind of crazy, but there's a heavy cost to carrying around things that that are not communicated. I've got a situation right now with somebody was one of my very best friends, who I loved dearly and still love dearly. And we had a very significant falling out not so long ago. And there's a tremendous amount of hurt still for me. And it's just the nature of the circumstances and what there is for me to be responsible for in that situation, and everything else. I'm still sorting through it, guys. Like, yeah, to be totally honest with you, this podcast is as much for me and my progress forward, if you will, as it is for anybody else. I'm coaching myself here, and the amount of energy and kind of strain, inner strain that it's caused me to maintain a level of upset about this situation has been really intense. So obviously I'm not holding on to that stuff because I think it's the best thing for me or that I think it's healthy. I quite frankly have held on to it because I haven't found the exact way to let go of it. And I'm still like honoring some of the feelings that I have, and giving them space to be, and always looking for, where is my responsibility? What is there for me to learn? What is there for me to make amends for? And also being real and fair with myself about like what wasn't mine or isn't mine, right? What part of the breakdown or break up or whatever you want to call it, did I not have control over? Which there were definitely aspects of things that happened that, in spite of my best efforts, just didn't work out. And it's been really hard. It's been, it's almost a year ago that kind of everything went down with this friend, and it still hurts like it was yesterday. There's actually almost a level of heartbreak there, to be totally real. And I've got amazing coaching around me. Dr. Jamil Syed, just to mention him again, is such a gem and an angel, really, in terms of being able to show up with the kind of wisdom in these situations that just moves the whole process and transforms the whole process. So I've got amazing coaching and advisory around this, and it's just a process, right? So I'm honoring, like I talked before about honoring yourself, right? Honoring your feelings, your humanity, the need for you to have time and space to process things that you need to process, and for not being perfect, not being immediately enlightened all the time. That's been huge for me. And so if you feel like you're the, you're the only one out there that has unresolved stuff with people in your life, you're not. I can tell you that firsthand. I think that we all have it. We all have that. And one of the biggest messages or takeaways, activities, assignments, tasks, whatever you want to call it, is to just make that list of your top 20 people. First of all, I think just making the list itself is going to be really cool for you to like get on one piece of paper, like all these amazing people that you have in your life, that you're blessed to have in your life. And then it's going to give you access to like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that little, kind of tiff or, friction that I had with that person recently. And it'd be nice to get that kind of cleared up. Or it could be major, right? Like it could be a parent, and you could be dealing with, some childhood trauma issues. And sometimes that takes, professional help and to work through. But what I'm learning, and it hasn't necessarily come totally naturally to me, it's been coached into me largely, is just the need for forgiveness, not for the other person, not for their sake necessarily, although it's a gift to them, I think, but it's ultimately it's a gift to you because not having unresolved, unforgiven things that you are, memories, issues that you are drama in general. Like if you're carrying that stuff around, it's at 100% your expense. It's all your cross to bear. You holding a grudge with someone else is doing nothing to them. It has no positive, like any effect on them, passively, aggressively, or otherwise. Like there's just no payoff right there, and it has a tremendous effect on you. And I've been going through it here recently with the situation that I was just sharing with you, and again, just very compassionate with myself about honoring what there is to honor as far as just my raw feelings. Hurt mainly is the big one, heartbreak, certainly some regret, some like sense of responsibility and hard lessons learned and things that I would do differently. And to me, that's like the best we can do, guys. Is there's so much, whether it's business relationships, personal relationships, relationships with yourself, even there's so much that there's a lot that's in your control, in your locus of control. And there's so much that's outside of your locus of control. Right. And if you've read the 4 Agreements, which I highly recommend, Don Miguel Ruiz is the author. The book's The 4 Agreements. We'll put that in the show notes. But one of the 4 agreements is always do your best. Right. And that is all you can do. It's a big thing. Doing your best is often showing up in a way that you've never shown up before. But that's within your locus of control. And I try to do that every day with all aspects of my life, but certainly my business, my partnerships, my primary friendships. I'm just committed to showing up on my A game the best that I can, and having the most impact that I can on the people that I love, the business that I love, the industry that I serve, the community that I serve, and my own journey through life. Like I have tremendous honor and gratitude for this path that I get to walk, and only I get to walk it ultimately. There's certainly companions and friends and girlfriends and, along the way that have walked with me, and my mom being the most consistent one. I've known her for 50 years and she's just been a close friend and confidant, and we continue to really thrive. Our relationship really thrives, and just to get to kind of travel through so far this part of this life with her is an unspeakable gift. She's my hero. The way that she is just unconditionally loving and accepting and supportive of everybody, not just me, but everybody, and even some people that I don't even think really deserve it, to be honest. It's another conversation, but she's just, it's kind of saint level, honestly, the way that she shows up in the world. It's incredibly informing and inspiring to me. And I feel incredibly lucky and grateful to have her as mom. Like, what an incredible gift. I think just to kind of summarize and bring this full circle, this was, I wasn't sure exactly how this episode would go. I didn't really write out any notes, that like an outline and kind of a plan here. I wanted to authentically share with you guys why we missed a couple episodes, which, is on me, and life happened and, somebody close to me died, and I, got sidetracked and from the podcast recordings and focused all my attention on loving, my friend and loving his family, and loving myself as much as possible through the process. And to me, like when I zoom way out here, and I know that my buddy Tony is in a wonderful, wonderful place and is totally at peace, totally knows the truth of the nature of reality, which my guess is that is an eternal play. Like, I think we're basically spiritual beings having a human experience. Not to get to again woo woo or kind of spiritual too much, but I do believe that, and I believe in the theory that no amount of energy in the universe is ever lost. It never goes away. And I think I think consciousness is energy. And I think that these souls that we are eternal and are just miracles. I think this life is a miracle. I think love is a miracle. One of my favorite bands called Elbow has a lyric that life is the greatest miracle, and then the next line is love is the greatest miracle. And to me, that's like, what's more important than that, really, right? We invest in apartments. That's what this show is about. Investing in commercial multifamily real estate, scaling up, becoming, either a lead GP or a co-GP. You may or may not know those terms, but stay tuned and you will know those more and more. Maybe you're a passive investor, investing with teams like Greenlight, and in different deals. And we love it. I think almost everybody here, if you're listening to this and you're towards the end here, my guess is that you're in love with your work. You're in love with your business, your company, the team you built, your business model, the industry, the space that we get to play in, the opportunity to build cash flow and wealth and tax advantages and all the things that we talk about all the time on the show. But, when you go just a few layers deeper here, it's what's more important than inner peace and inner, like, a sense of equanimity and peace with the people in your life, and being able to go to sleep at night knowing that if any of those top 20 people were to not wake up the next morning, that you've said everything that you need to say to them, at least the fundamental things, right? If nothing else, you know what? I love you and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for the path that we've gotten to walk together and all the things I've learned, all the memories, all the laughter. And, like, again, what more is there, right? It's human connection. It's your kids, it's your spouse, it's your parents, it's your chosen family, the friends that are almost closer than family sometimes, like the ones that just really, really click with you. It's your relationship with yourself ultimately, and how you regard yourself. And I think I'll just leave it with this one last concept along the lines of loving, honoring yourself and respecting you and never disrespecting you. So my assignment to you guys is to, that whole reticular activating system that you've heard about, I'm sure, where you start looking for a red Porsche or red F-150, and you go to the dealer, you test drive one, then you're out and about and you see them everywhere all of a sudden, right? You didn't see them before, but now that they're in your consciousness, you see them everywhere, right? I want this to be similar for you with your level of self-respect, ultimately, because self-respect is love. It's a form of love. I think attention is one of the highest forms of love. And so how much attention are you giving yourself? How much, nurturing, like sometimes tough love, right? Like the gym, meditation cushion, yoga mat, running, like you're getting great sleep, eating well, keeping, staying fit. Like that's all form of like high level self-love. And when you do that, when you prioritize that, it's like putting your oxygen mask on first in the plane scenario, which is what you're supposed to do. If a plane's in distress, you're supposed to put your oxygen mask on first so that you're breathing and you have what you need to help other people. And to me, that's a great analogy for life, is generating the compassion, the understanding, the patience, the nurturing for yourself, towards yourself, that you deserve, right? And I think for me, it's been a little bit of an art in kind of working with what is like self-discipline. What are the things that I'm like doing because I know they're good for me, even though I don't necessarily feel like doing them, right? And then just kind of honoring what's there. Like it's kind of an art, right? I mean, I think living is an art. I think business is definitely an art. Being an entrepreneur is very, very artful and creative. It's an authentic expression of who you are. And that to me is what art is. So just deepening your capacity to ultimately forgive. And one of the things I've learned just even in the last couple of days here is that forgiveness isn't about them. It's not about who you think you may or may not be forgiving. It's about forgiving yourself, not because there's even anything to forgive yourself for. However, if you think about that, everyone out there is really a projection of who you are, in the sense that if you believe this sort of thing, we're all one, or at the very least, we all come from the same source. And that my story about you is much more a reflection on me and my paradigm and my perspectives and preconceived notions and conditioning than it is about you and who you are factually. And And so the illusion is that there's these others out there and that we're separate from them, in my opinion, and that being having a beef with somebody, having a grudge, something unresolved with somebody, ultimately it's an inside job, right? It's an inside job that is what it's your responsibility 100% to work out within yourself, because ultimately you're writing the narrative, you're assigning the meaning, you're making up a lot of things, usually like what that person might have meant, what they might be thinking, whatever. Like, you're assigning the meaning there. What happened is what happened. What was said, what was said. And from that point forward, your story and your context and the way that you process that event and that conversation, that interaction is 100% on you. And you get to choose, like, is this going to serve me? Is this going to be a story, a situation that I intentionally create a conclusion or an outcome that serves me? Or am I going to stuff this and not process it and make the other person wrong and essentially suffer over the long term by doing that? That's really kind of the choice. So, again, I think sometimes we teach what we most need to learn, right? And this was all stuff that I really needed to hear this week, and hopefully it was clear for you and hopefully motivating to do some of the most important things you'll ever do, which is getting your people back in your life, getting that mom, getting your mom back, getting your dad back, getting your spouse, getting your kids, your best friends, your long lost friends, your long lost family, getting those people back in your life, at least to the degree that that they know how much you love them. And that to me is like, what's more important than that? Raising capital for real estate is really important, right? Like, I think we can all agree on that. It's what we're up to. Finding great deals in real estate is huge, and it's what we're all up to. Building our companies and our brands, it's a big thing. It's what we talk about every episode on this podcast, or some variety thereof. And I would assert that what we just went through, this talk that you and I just had, this interaction, this exchange, is more so important than any of that. Because at the end of life, when you're looking back and you maybe don't have you don't have very many days left, and you've kind of done everything that you need to do, I guarantee you what you're going to be thinking about is all the people you loved, all the people that you shared this journey with, whether it was for a year, 3 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever. The gratitude that I think so many people feel at the end of life is generated by that richness of relationships that they had, and the love and connection that they felt with those people, and or feel with those people. I think our relationships are, whether or not we whether or not we do realize this on a day to day, I think our relationships are the most important part of our lives. And our relationship with ourselves is where it starts. And so, in summary, take some inventory, right? Take an inventory of those 20 people, 20 most important people in your life, and just go through the list once you've made the list and look at, when was the last time I talked to that person? What did I say to that person the last time I talked to him? What might I want to say to that person? What's unresolved, right? Like what do you need to take responsibility for to clean things up with that person, right? And it's almost always you. And, of course, people, do things that are hurtful and that we can often use as ways of going into victim mode, which is tempting, but it's very powerless. It's a very powerless place to be when you're the victim of somebody else and their choices and what they've done. So it's almost, again, it's an inside job. Like even cleaning these things up with other people starts with you being truthful with yourself and being willing to tell yourself the straight truth about, you and how you could be better, right? Not in the sense that you were wrong or bad or shameful before, but like, how could I be better next time? How could I make this person feel more loved and cherished and honored and respected next time? And then just doing your best to verbalize your apologies, your regrets, your commitments to be different in the future. I think that's a super huge part of cleaning things up with people is being intentional about, this is what you can expect from me from now on. Right. And being a person of your word when you say that. So again, just kind of boiling it all down, self-love, guys, because self-love, authentic self-love leads to all of the rest of the above. You can't authentically, unconditionally love yourself and accept who you are with all your flaws and all of your superpowers and not want to have alignment and affinity in your connections with other people. It's just a natural byproduct of loving yourself. When you love yourself authentically and you enjoy your own company and you're not necessarily proud of who you are, but you feel good about how you're living and the choices you're making and the priorities that you've picked for yourself and the intention that you're living with, right? Like, there's kind of nothing better in life to have that alignment, that inner alignment with yourself. And it's going to just very naturally going to cause healing in a lot of parts of your life, including your relationships. And then if you want to take this whole conversation to business and investing and being an entrepreneur and building a team, being a leader, like that's kind of another episode. Maybe we'll do that. But I think you can also extrapolate this, right? Like extrapolate what deep and authentic self-love looks and feels like when applied to your business, right? One actionable tip for you is, it's not an actionable tip. It's actually an actionable non-action. If and when you find yourself ever talking about yourself in any sort of disrespectful way, and usually it's subtle, right? Usually it's pretty nuanced, like yeah, can't believe I missed that turn. That was dumb, that sort of thing. Or, I lost track of my train of thought in the middle of a speech. Can't believe I did that. It was dumb of me. Like, you know, trying to kind of make other people laugh about it by being self-denigrating, sometimes that comes across as sarcasm. Like, just knock that stuff out of your life completely. Consider like any form of negative self-talk that's gratuitous in nature, unnecessary, usually inauthentic and inaccurate. Just consider that stuff garbage. And all it does is bring your energy and your self-image, your self-esteem down a few notches. And that's huge. That's currency right there. To be honest with you, it's a value. It's like in business, it's dollars and cents at the end of the day. You are your number one fan, right? You're your number one believer. You are captain of your ship, and people look to you as a leader, whether you realize it or not. If you're listening to this, you're a leader. I promise you. And as a leader, any form of self-doubt that we express, whether it's subtle, nuanced, or just outright sarcastic, whatever, it has a cost on the level of influence that you have on the people that you're leading or the people that are looking up to you. And it also has a cost on your own self-image. So I have my old coach, mentor, Matthew Ferry, to thank for this. He just has he has a wonderful way of just letting himself off the hook. If he's in the middle of a presentation and something goes wrong and he makes a mistake, he's like, okay, so here's what we need to do. And he'll even say, like, did you guys notice how I didn't make myself wrong for that? Like, I didn't say anything bad about myself. I didn't express frustration. I wasn't snarky, sarcastic. I just was good to myself through the whole thing, right? And why not? Like, why not be true and good to you in any and all situations? And that, of course, that, in my opinion, includes taking responsibility for when you've, made a mistake, maybe not honored your word, maybe just fallen short on a commitment. Like 100% taking responsibility for all of that, right? But doing so in a spirit of self-compassion, compassion for your own humanity, your own imperfection, and the knowledge that what you're sharing with whoever you're sharing it with is a gift, huge gift to them, like more of a gift than you'll ever know. And I've often said on this show that you sharing yourself authentically with other people, especially at scale, like on social media, for instance, is one of the biggest gifts that you can give the planet, especially if it's coming from your authentic essence of who you really are, what you're really passionate about, and the impact that you really want to make. So again, kind of a different episode, right? Like I don't think it takes too much thinking and processing through this stuff to see where it's going to come out in your business, right? Like a lot of us have partners that we are in our company with us, or that we partner with on a deal by deal basis. Like this will transform those relationships. It will often transform those people themselves, and will often transform your business. And it really starts with you. It starts with that inside job of just giving yourself lots of grace, giving yourself lots of space and patience, allowing space for failure, embracing failure with a fail forward attitude that failure is going to propel you to the next level of your greatness. It's going to be a part of it, right? It's all part of authentic, deep self-love, right? And it's not always easy. Like, I get it. We all have, so a lot of us have stuff that is kind of big that we might need to forgive ourselves for. And maybe we need professional help to do that. Or maybe we need like special processes like journaling or meditation, or coaching, or a therapist or whatever to work through that stuff. And all I can say is whatever it takes, guys. If there's something there that needs to be healed, I want to be a gentle nudge for you right now, with love, to take the next step towards that healing. And I promise you, you know what it is. Like, whether or not it's like top of mind, top of consciousness right now, if you sit quietly, maybe pray a little bit, meditate a little bit, and ask for what's the next step here? Like, what do I need to be doing next? It'll come to you. And so that would be my challenge to you is to, take serious inventory, take inventory of the 20 most important people in your life and what might need to be communicated with them, and what experience you'd like to create with them in the remaining time that you have together, because it is finite, right? And then take an inventory of your relationship with yourself. And maybe that should go in opposite order. Maybe the inventory with self should be first, because you can't give what you don't have. And if the love for yourself is aligned and solid, and you've done the work of just working through your shadow stuff, your kind of the dark stuff in life, the things we don't love about ourselves, trauma that happened to us, that we had no control over. Like, life's hard, man. And there are things that are really, really hard to navigate through. And again, in the spirit of like high level self-love, and especially as entrepreneurs, you guys got to do whatever it takes to heal and to bring resolve. And a lot of times that looks like healing ourselves inside, working towards an unconditional inner peace, as I like to say, where nothing in your external conditions can phase how you are inside. And that is an ultimate. I don't know if that's enlightenment. I don't know what you'd call that, but having that unconditional peace where the proverbial stuff can be hitting the fan, close to you, in your business, in your family, you get hit by, you get in a car accident, life, just health problems, like things that pop up, and things pop up in life, unexpected things pop up in life. If you have a true, grounded, balanced, and authentic love for you, and you have patience and grace with yourself, it's going to make navigating through all of that stuff so much easier. and with so much less friction and stress and strain and guilt and shame. And it's going to give you the most powerful approach and perspective to have to bring other people along with you and uplift them, be a gift to them, be what they need, be who they need you to be. And in terms of their own growth, like this is a value add business that we're in, right? Like everybody's talking value add all the time, whether it's value add properties, value add relationships, value add podcasts. This is a value add currency that we're in, like, right, and attention is, like, in my opinion, the highest form of that currency. Another word for the attention is love, in my opinion. And if you're bringing that for yourself, it's gonna, so many things will fall into place in other relationships, in your business, your personal life, etc. I promise you that will happen. And in a really great place to start is with forgiving other people and forgiving the ones that you love the most. And almost there's, if you really look, like, at least with like parents and immediate family, like there's often a lot to look at forgiving. Sometimes there's not, but sometimes there is. And every bit, if not more important, is distinguishing what there is to forgive yourself for. And if you think, again, that everybody is ultimately a part of you, an extension of you, a projection of you, like working on forgiving them and doing what it takes to get to that point, that process is just one of the most ultimate gifts you could ever give yourself. Not to mention the other person, just the gift that you're giving yourself of letting them off the hook, letting yourself off the hook, letting the part of yourself that they represent off the hook, and honoring their path. As my coach says, honoring the path that they've chosen, even if it's not what we would have liked or dreamed of or chosen for them, like just honor, right? Because we've got one perspective on this planet, and there's like 8 billion other perspectives on this planet, right? Like we're just one perspective, and we're one source of understanding, one source of, condition responses and education. And who are we to say what's right for another person, or what we think another person should be doing, or even how they should be treating us, right? Like we're not in their skin. We haven't had their experiences. And so I think grace goes a long way in life. Patience goes a really long way in life. Generosity, kindness, the willingness and almost eagerness to let people off the hook and allow for maybe your expectations to go unmet with that person or a situation, just in the name of acceptance, love, support, etc., that you are bringing. Unconditional, right? It's unconditional. No matter what the outer conditions are, this is what you're bringing, no matter what. And that's got to be a set intention, consciously set intention, and, ideally written down. Maybe it's part of your purpose, your life purpose, or your life mission statement, or your business mission, your business's mission statement. And, it's ultimately, to me, this is where the riches are in life. I'm very holistic in my approach to life and to business and to coaching and to this podcast and mentoring, running our mastermind that we have, which you guys should look into, by the way. There'll be more on that coming out soon. And it's just a gift. It's the whole thing for me is a gift, and getting to spend 5 years with Tony in my 20s, during such amazing formative years, and to get to go carry his casket, which is kind of morbid and, at first glance, but like to get to carry him home and be a part of honoring him and being part of his full cycle, even after all the years that went by between college and now, was incredibly humbling, incredibly meaningful. And I just felt so connected to him, and I just felt his presence in such a strong way. And that's a gift in my book. And as sad as I was and am, and as sad as I am for his family, and his wife and his children and his sister and his brother, and parents, I know that the cycle of life for him was complete. I know he's in a wonderful place that none of us can probably really imagine. And I know he's with me, and I know he's happy, and I know that he wants us to all be happy. And so I honor the feelings as they come up. I honor the grief and the tears and everything else that comes along with it. But most of all, I just honor the opportunity, that the universe or God or spirit, however you want to contextualize the divine, provided for Tony and me to be the kind of friends that we were, and the closeness that we had. And, when I was standing there honoring him and those memories in the service, it felt like yesterday that we were together. And I think that's the way real, authentic love relationships feel like. I don't think that I think they're timeless, and I think that they'll always be right there with us. The memories, just the imprint that relationship made on you, and just the magical, however it works, but the magical presence of that person still being with us, at a spiritual level, whatever. I don't know how it all works, to be honest. I have some suspicions, and one of them is that we're always together. No matter what the illusion of separateness might look like, at least those of us that really love each other are always together. And so on that, I again, in 210 episodes, this is very, very different. And I would be so grateful to hear from you on this one. I don't ask for that a whole lot. I would love to hear feedback from you on this particular episode. The best way to reach me is either through our website, which is investwithgreenlight.com, or my email is tate@glequitygroup.com, tate@glequitygroup.com. If you email me and share with me how this may have hit home for you, if it did, I'll send you a little surprise, something of value as far as little tool for your investing, something I put together. So I just love hearing from you guys. It makes doing this just all the more meaningful. It's already massively meaningful to me to get to do this. And so I'd probably do it if there were only 5 of you listening, to be honest, because I don't really care. It's like the impact that I can make is the impact that I can make, and the expression and creativity that this gives me access to is really awesome for me and really fulfilling. So, and getting to hear from you guys is like cherry on top. And it means more to me than you know. Obviously, we love rating and reviews as well on the on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Really appreciate that. It helps a lot in the algorithms and whatnot. But as much as anything, I'd love to hear from you guys personally if you feel led to reach out. We have, just also mention real quickly, we have some exciting opportunities on in the passive investing world on some projects we're working on, and then we have this unbelievable mastermind that is just a powerhouse of high level real estate entrepreneurs that are scaling into large scale multifamily. It's called Multifamily Octane. And if you are not just interested in this business, but are committed to this business, we really should have a talk. And of course, no strings attached. We can talk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, kind of brain dump your situation, your business, your hopes, your dreams, your goals, and talk a little bit about possibilities of, either working together, being in the mastermind or not, whatever's a good fit. If nothing else, hopefully you come away with some good actionable, stuff from that meeting. So on that, guys, I hope you got a lot out of this. I really do. As you can tell, kind of put my heart and soul into it. Like I said, a little different kind of episode. And I think I'm going to be doing more of these, whether they're solo episodes or more generally, general broad, kind of entrepreneurial, high level living episodes. I think it all goes hand in hand with closing great multifamily deals and building wealth and building your investor base and building your portfolio. To me, it's all part of the same picture. I hope you see that too. Because I think the more you do see that, the more power you can bring to what you're doing. The better version of yourself that you are at all levels, the better entrepreneur you're going to be. Bottom line. So to the better version of yourselves, I honor you guys. I am humbled that you listened to this, and honored and just appreciative. And I'm here for you. So you know how to reach me. I just dropped my email address and our website. Of course, that's in the show notes as well. So reach out anytime. I can help on a lot of different levels in this business. So use me as a resource. Again, I'll do 15, 20-minute calls with any of you guys for free, no strings attached. And of course there's other opportunities that could lead to, but if nothing else, let's get a little chat going and talk about what you want to do and what do you want to create over the next 2-3 years. Wow. Okay. Big episode. I have no idea. I don't even know how long this is. I kind of lost track of time, so we'll see how it turns out. But thank you all for listening to this. It was a very personal episode of the Apartment Gurus. This is kind of a sacred Cal, for me, it's in a good way. Like, this is kind of my baby, and so you being a part of it means more to me than you realize. So thank you all, and we will see you on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus. I wish you an incredible rest of your day, your work day, whatever you're up to, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
This has been the Apartment Gurus with Tate Siemer. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. To contact Tate, go to www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. He loves to hear from you and thanks you for being a valued listener. Just a reminder that you are the guru. See you on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus.